never get free. Lamb to the slaughter. What you gon' do when there's blood in the water? The price of your greed is your son and your daughter. What you gon' do when there's blood in the water? Look me in my eyes. Tell me everything's not fine. All the people ain't happy. And the river has run dry. You thought you could go.
This is my suicide note.
He chose what's out there over us.
I'm not afraid to die.
It's me and you now.
God damn you, Chris!
I always protected you!
People either love me or hate me. Never indifference. But there's a good damn reason why I'm still here. Nice headshot.
What fresh hell is this, Jones? What fresh hell?
You're not a monster.
Admit you were toxic.
Sure.
You poisoned me just
Get out of your mind.
I'm not the name you picked her. Because she knew I'd always win.
I am the
whole world
I am the sickness.
When I went down, everyone was dead.
You're testing my loyalty.
Don't test me.
We'll never get free.
Look at him! He's dying!
Blood in the water, the price of your greed. Your son and your daughter. What you gonna do when there's blood in the water?
This is it!
Save one blood. You choose.
It's just like another Tuesday.
До свидания.
Okay, welcome to KBLP LLC and Fear the Walking Dead. Episode 11 called The Code of Season 4. It was alright. So far, I'm not thrilled with this season so far. They're all over the place, if you ask me. And poor Morgan finally gets a chance to go to a real bathroom. It even had toilet paper and a copy of Toy Dog Monthly. What can you ask for? What more could you ask for, right? You got toilet paper and reading material. But of course, no, the fates wouldn't allow him to do his business in peace. And by the end of the episode, if not we had met a character whose malevolence seemed destined to make him crap, whether or not he was anywhere near a toilet. I don't know. The code began. Morgan, of course, sought refuge from the hurricane, last week's hurricane, in the back of a semi that just happened to be filled with take what you need, leave what you don't boxes. And of course, that means before he conked out for the night, he got to enjoy a feast of bottled water and one of his most beloved peanut butter protein bars. It's a win-win, right? The morning after, the apparently very heavy sleeper awakened to find he'd been driven all the way to a truck stop in Mississippi. How could you not feel the truck moving? I don't know. He must have barely been tired. That's all I can say. As post-apocalyptic truck stops go, it was pretty good. It was pretty awesome, actually. Well stocked. The lights worked. Miracle of miracles. The John had TP also, so there you go. So he filled his backpack with some essentials. Morgan hit the restroom. And here comes Wendell, played by Daryl Mitchell, who is also, who plays on NCIS New Orleans, by the way, Daryl Mitchell. He's Wendell in this. A wheelchair user with a gun and a question. All my life, he said, people like you've been using stalls made for people like me. Why? I love Morgan answers, though. It was a great answer to that. And Morgan's response, it always seemed like a little apartment. There you go. That was a good line from him. That was good. And after the guys made their way out of the men's room, they were joined by Sarah, who's played by Mo Collins, who quickly asked that Morgan forgive her brother for being so jumpy. Wait, brother? We twins, Wendell said. And he said that with a deadpan face, too. Wendell's a cool character. These two are good characters, I think. I don't know. I like them in this episode anyway. We'll see. So who were these guys? What was with this take what you need, love what you don't stuff? According to these two, before the world went sideways, they delivered the kind of care packages that they now left all over the highway. And afterwards, when the road gets bumpy, you just keep on moving ahead in your truck, said Wendell. And this prompted Sarah to remind him that he meant keep on trucking. Okay. In turn, Morgan revealed he was headed to Virginia after he went back to check on some friends he has in Texas. Had they corrected him, suggesting that Alicia, John, and company couldn't have survived that hurricane. I lost my Manelli, my Bichon Frise, Wendell offered, so Morgan would understand that I know his pain. The duo wouldn't lift Morgan back to Texas. Should have called Uber. Lyft wouldn't do it. But they happily gave him supplies to take with him. Should have called Chris, right? As for them, we got a code and we keep it, and we keeping it alive, said Wendell. You got to help people when they need that help, and then you got to keep your truck moving. Again, Sarah chimes in, keep on trucking. They're characters, that's for sure. Headed back to Texas, Morgan made it as far as a bridge that served as a kind of a crossroads, metaphorically. And he struggled pretty bad with his conscience. Then walkie-talkied Wendell and Sarah that the overpass that they'd been sure was clear and was in fact clear, was out. It was definitely clear. So he'd be rejoining them. And he made it to the rendezvous point. Morgan saw in the distance a guy with his hands tied and a hood pulled over his head running from walkers. After saving the hapless fellow from certain death, or undeath as we should call it, the guy whose name we learned was Jim greeted his rescuer with this, with how long does it take to run across a goddamn field? Wow, grateful, wasn't he? No sooner had Jim explained to Morgan he'd been trying to escape from his would-be kidnappers, who wanted his beer recipe. They met up with Wendell and Sarah, who, of course, were the kidnappers. They were the would-be kidnappers, anyway. And you have to admit, access to beer is a pretty good reason, right? I don't know. This episode is a little... It was kind of all over the place. I have more questions than answers as usual. Excuse me. Okay, Wendell and Sarah's halos are now knocked off. Morgan wanted to know who they really were and what had happened to the guy who's take what you need, leave what you want, don't truck. They were driving. Don't worry about him. Left him back in Texas. But we weren't a-holes about it, Wendell insisted. We left him the box. And Sarah was not remorseful in the slightest. In this world, if you can't protect what's yours, she said, it ain't yours. Okay. Anyway, they were now super interested in making their way to the settlement that Morgan had described in Virginia. And he, as you expect, wasn't about to give directions to these lowlifes, right? They weren't worried, though. They had a whole lot of miles ahead of them, and before they got anywhere near Virginia, they were sure that Morgan would change his tune. And for his part, Jim, or Jimbo, as Wendell and Sarah were dying to rename him, and they called Morgan Momo. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. But they renamed him Momo. Sarah's got a thing with that stuff. They only made it as far as the first pit stop before he proposed an arrangement that would get him untied. Will I get beer? Asked Sarah. All you can drink, he replied. Deal struck. History is built on beer. And even after riding around for a while with his hands tied, Morgan still wouldn't disclose Rick and his old friend's whereabouts. Or at least he wouldn't until Jim accidentally knocked him down on the embankment, and he found himself unable to climb back up with his hands bound. That was, wow, that was just low, wasn't it? It's kind of a dog-eat-dog world out there now. As walkers trapped him, he was on the roof of a car. He finally relented and gave Sarah and Wendell directions to Alexandria. So now would they give him a hand? This being Jim's first time out of his brewery since the rise of the walkers, he was not equipped to step in, he said. Wendell wasn't about to roll down the hill, and Sarah, she didn't even pretend she wanted to help. You made it this long without us, she pointed out to Morgan. But wait, could they really just turn around and walk away? Yep. Pretty much. Yep. Sarah responded, sure. They knew that the bridge hadn't been really out, so clearly Morgan hadn't been all that anxious to go help his friends in Texas. In other words, said Sarah, guess we're not the only ones pretending to be something we're not. That night, Morgan was still trapped on top of that darn car, okay? He's still on there. But he'd come up with a new tactic in hopes of getting a bit of assistance. You don't have to do this. You can come back. He walked, appealing to Wendell and Sarah's better nature, which I'm not sure. I think they have, but I think there's always something. There's an angle with them, always. And that got no response, so Morgan decided to be honest. He didn't cross the bridge, he admitted, because he was a coward. He knew that Alicia and company needed him, but had been afraid that if he went back, he'd only make things worse. So he hadn't gone back. That being the case, they shouldn't return for him, he continued. However, maybe I can ask you to come back just so I can do the right thing. Morgan took a flying leap off the roof of the car. Okay, Morgan, I don't know where he thought he was going. But anyway, he took a leap off the car, and it was all well and good, except it left him once again trying to get up that hill with his hands still tied. He might not have made it, except he should have a had he not spotted the pocket knife from the Take What You Need box and used it to free himself. He was right there before. I mean, did he not see this before? So you see, Sarah, those boxes were doing people some good after all. There you go, Sarah. Okay, as the hour of the show winded down, Morgan caught back up to Wendell, Sarah, and Jim. The twins were kind of ticked to have discovered that the exit Morgan had told them to take didn't exist. Oh, what a surprise, right? At any rate, he was going back to Texas to follow in the footsteps of the Take What You Need box guy and try to help. And if they'd give him a ride, he'd personally escort them to Virginia afterwards. And along the way, Morgan insisted on dropping off Take What You Need boxes at mile markers ending in 4. Just like the do-gooder had been doing. Jim even got in on the act, leaving a beer in a box. Oh, what a nice guy. But as Morgan took to the walkie-talkie in hopes that the box guy would hear that they'd meet him up on the road, his message was intercepted by, this woman is just great. I love her. She's evil, but she's cool. And she's played by Tanya Pinkins. And she scrawled, "Take what you need," yada, yada, across the face of a walker stuck to her wall. She's got these walkers with these sayings on them all. It's great. And it looks like we're going to Texas, she told Purvis, her zombie. And suddenly, the vultures look more like canaries. What did you guys think of this episode, seriously? It was okay, but I think this actually episode was directed by Strand. I'll get his name in a minute. Yeah, I love this character. What did you think of these new characters? I'm going to type so. So what did you all think of the new characters? Their characters, all right. Okay, that's my first question. How creepy was Tanya Pinkins? How creepy did you think she was? The filthy woman. Typing. Played by Tanya Pinkins. So, how creepy was she, do you think? I thought she was pretty damn creepy. So we met some of these new characters, which is fine. I mean, I think she's pretty cool at the end. She's evil, malevolent. She's all that. Last week's episode, of course, focused on Alicia and Charlie. It was good, but it wasn't great. Again, I'm not finding that spark in there that would really hold me to it. And the mid-season premiere, not the best either. This one was somewhere in between there, I think. It was not the worst, but it wasn't the best. You have Morgan, Lenny James, he's traipsing back and forth across the South, Texas to Mississippi and back again. Why? And then we met Wendell and his trusty shotgun in his wheelchair. And then we met his sister, Sarah, and her knack for doling out nicknames. Momo is Morgan, so there you go, Morgan, I'm sorry. As though he's an adorable furry creature from Avatar, if you remember The Last Airbender, Momo. And then we meet the grouchy brewer, Jim. And his name is now Jimbo, whose passion for beer almost makes up for his unpleasant demeanor and generally his cowardness. So, some of the things I did like were Jim's his speech about beer, and Morgan and Wendell's conversation in the bathroom over the handicap stall. It's like a little apartment. Well, of course. The truck stops filled with the supplies, and the idea of take what you need, leave what you don't. That's about it. I was really confused on some of this. I really was. This show is not going to take long, let me tell you. I wish it could, but here's some things. Now, if you follow this, let me know, okay? If Sarah and Wendell took the truck from the original driver, where did they do it at, Texas or Mississippi? If it was in Texas, then why was that lady with the zombie trucker saying, we're going to Texas at the end? But if they didn't take the truck in Texas, then how come they said they came from Texas when talking with Morgan? Did y'all follow that? So where did they do this? That's never obviously clear. If it was Texas, then why was that lady with the zombie trucker saying we're going to Texas at the end? But if they didn't take the truck in Texas, then how come they said they came from Texas when talking with Morgan? Okay, I was confused with that. Where did the hell they come from? Are they truckers or grifters? Sarah sounded and looked like a trucker. They talked about knowing all the back ways where all the warehouses are. But are they just truckers who steal from other truckers? Another question there. And if the pair wanted to go to Virginia so bad, why did they let Morgan take a car and supplies and head back to Texas? These are questions I was really confused about. They wanted to go, but why did they let Morgan take a car and supplies and let him head back towards Texas there? And why did they we never really found out why they tied up Jim. Supposedly it was for his beer secrets or whatever, but what good is his secrets going to do if he's dead or undead? Sorry. So why did they tie up Jim and put a bag over his head and leave him to die? That's beyond grifter levels of cruel, obviously. All Jim had to do was shake his head until the bag came off. It wasn't tied on, so he's running with this bag on his head. He didn't have to. And question for the writers, why did you think this was a good episode? Compelling story. I'm just confused on a lot of it. You have Morgan between, wanting to go to Texas to help his friends or going to Virginia. Back and forth, back and forth. We don't need 3 new characters added to the mix, and they're looking for some good zombie food in the future episodes. I mean, are they going to be playing a bigger part? We haven't even seen enough of John Dory with an I-E, not a Y, by the way. And this filthy woman, she's bad. Ooh, she's bad. She's going to be an interesting character, I think she's going to be. But what is up with these other two? Like I said, we've barely seen John Dory with an I-E, not a Y. Or Al, this half of the season so far. So what is going on here? I think they used it more as a filler. Because to make a long story short, Morgan could have hid out in the truck overnight and then proceeded to go find Alicia. They could have discovered supplies being left and there and gone looking for the trucker. At which point we could have seen the creepy lady at the end of the episode doing her creepy stuff. What's the point in having him go all the way to Mississippi, then back to Texas, then turn around and head back to the truck stop? It was just, it was okay. It was all right. This wasn't a standout episode again. I just don't, I'm beginning to wonder. I really am. I don't know. I was confused. I thought it was confusing. What do I know? It was. I thought the best part. Oh, there was several good parts. One was when he met Wendell, Jim the brewery guy. He's like, grateful, wasn't he? No, but the creepy woman at the end. She's going to be interesting, I think. But did you notice how filthy she was, dirty? That's how. Why aren't the rest of these people like that? Every character should be that dirty, actually. You go weeks without bathing, changing your clothes, or a regular supply of soap or running water. You're camping for God only, forever now, kind of. It leaves you pretty grimy. You got campfire smoke, dirt, lack of a bathroom. You're going to be pretty gamey, it's shortly. So, but I of course, in television, you got the perfect teeth, and I don't know where they're brushing their teeth at, but okay. Of course, you can use herbs for that, so I take that back. So there are herbs and plants out there for that, actually. The filthy woman. She makes no effort even to wash her face. So, she's great. She's great. And wouldn't these walkers be naked at the waist down at this point? How are their pants staying up? I think of these silly things, stupid things like that. How are their pants staying up? There's nothing, they're becoming so wasting away. Their pants wouldn't stay up anymore. Or falling off because they've been dead, the undead so long. I really enjoy her. She's like a creepy witch going around poisoning water bottles, which she did, which we're pretty sure that's what she did to Althea, and that's what made her sick. And, saying creepy stuff to Morgan, keeping walker pets with their own personal catchphrases on them. Yeah, she's definitely creepy. And all of a sudden, everybody's talking on the walkie-talkies. You notice that? This week. What happened last week? Why weren't they on them last week? Well, that's because we think, some of us think that, so the filthy woman can listen in on their conversations and set up her various scheme plans. Oh, yeah. And though everyone else is ready, it doesn't seem to work very well. She hears everything pretty clearly from basically every other directions. She probably knows exactly where John Dory, Strand, and Leash are, and she's probably already set up traps for them to cure them of their weakness. Apparently, because what? She's evil, of course. She's evil, most definitely. Scandalous and evil, for sure. And we're still following Morgan again. He's going back to the vast state of Texas to find his new friends. So, I just don't get it. I don't, I'm kind of confused on this. Next week should be interesting because we're going to see more of the filthy woman. She's poisoning water bottles and stuff. And she talks to Morgan, of course. And, of course, the walkie-talkies are working. So, in a way, I'm feeling Morgan feels out of place in the show a little bit. It was great when he met John. Why did they end that? How they did that? We haven't seen John Dory, what the hell is going on? He had a good rapport with them. Those two clicked. Now he's just kind of floundering out there. Morgan is. I don't know. And why does Morgan think that going back to Texas will even help his friends? He doesn't even know they're in trouble. I mean, And most of them aren't his friends to begin with. Alicia, Strand, Luciana, they have no bonds of friendship with the other side. Alicia wanted to kill June for, the entire half of the first season, for crying out loud, for basically no reason, and end up shooting John. I mean, come on. These characters virtually have no connection to each other. And nothing's being done to make this bond grow. We haven't seen Morgan with John in how long now? Tearing them apart like this and scattering them across Texas, it just gave Morgan a reason to walk back and forth for the radio chatter, and to have episodes devoted to just one or two characters each week, which is getting a little dull, to say the least. I'm sorry. Next week, Coleman Domingo, he plays Strand. He directs next week's episode. So let's see how he does, okay? So Strand is directing next week's episode. So we shall see, excuse me, how he does. And also we learn, in this episode too, the code. Sometimes good deeds don't go unpunished. But Lenny James, he has a lot of appeal, you know that. He plays Morgan, of course. But I think the code could have been a stronger episode. I really do. There's a lot of philosophical aspects with this show, this episode, I should say. The importance of simple pleasures in a world that's gone to hell. But it's when the episode delving further into Morgan's delicate, complicated psyche, it kind of loses it, okay? It's kind of frustrating, too, is the notion that kindness and generosity are liabilities that all too often get good people killed. Retaining one's humanity shouldn't be an automatic death sentence, but hey, Morgan is a great character for re-examining what really matters in life. Like so many other survivors, of course Morgan's lost a lot. Who hasn't in this apocalypse? He lost his wife, his child, his home, even his sanity. His family, of course, is never coming back. He's kind of found a new family of sorts. First with Rick, but now he's gone from there. And then with John and Alicia. But he hasn't been with John. Come on. I just don't understand why they're not doing more with those two, really. It's an essential building block of any functioning society. The sense of belonging. He kind of feels he belongs, but yet he doesn't. He really doesn't. There's no bonds there. Only really between him and John, there's a bond there. But I don't think it's as it could be at this point. And it's interesting to see Morgan weigh one kind of stability against another. Whose people are his true people? Where does he belong? And most, this is what he said, who's most in need of saving? Well, at this point, he doesn't know that they need help. They've survived this long without him. Same as with him. You've survived this long. So, but of course, Morgan's part of his DNA is helping others. Let's face it, he always does. He's got a conscience, of course. But a lot has changed since the days of the zombie apocalypse. Supplies dwindle, patience runs dry. Humanity's surviving remnants have become embittered and desperate. It's basically, for many, every man for himself rules the day. We saw this with the Pirates in Season 2. We did. I wasn't thrilled with Season 2, but okay. With Brokejaw Ranch last season, and of course with the Vultures. And that's why I love Morgan and John Dory together. They're kind of selfless characters, and I wish they would go back to, those two together. But again, for every John and Morgan out there, there's a Wendell or a Sarah. Those two. They are a couple of characters. They're definitely interesting for sure. You gotta like them, even though you don't want to, okay? The same goes for Jim, who's played by Aaron Stanford, the microbrewer. He's our first hipster of the he's our first hipster of the post-apocalypse. He's instantly insufferable, chiding, going after Morgan for being so slow to rescue him. Really? I think I'd have left him out there. And I said, "Oh, go ahead, go back out." And fear doubles down on this bad first impression by revealing Jim to be another would-be profiteer who wants a chance to fill his coffers by crafting IPAs. Ugh, gag me. Really? Do you really think there's IPAs in the apocalypse? Just get. I am just... you'd think just regular beer would be the thing to do IPAs. Seriously? In the post-apocalypse? Yeah, not. I don't think so. I don't... Number one, I don't see what the big deal is with IPAs. I'm sorry. But it's like, really? It's like this bad thing. Why would that... no. And this is a consideration, given the state of the world. He and Strand would definitely get along. A couple of grifters looking for their next mark, for sure. Okay. I just don't see how they're going to make IPAs, but okay. And history is built on beer, as Jim insists. And perhaps there is some truth to this. If Morgan can value a fresh cup of coffee, oh, yes, you go, Morgan. Who's to say that consuming a good microbrew couldn't give someone a real thirst to live, to quench one's daily needs for the basic bygone niceties? No. Is a glass of beer as trivial as it initially seems? Microbrewery, yes. This is a post-apocalypse. How you making microbrews? You'd be lucky to make beer, period. Get a still, make some moonshine. I'm glad that Morgan rises to this challenge, as he always does. But I wish these characters were worthy of consideration. I really do. By the episode's end, we learned the fate of Purvis. He's the benevolent trucker who the filthy woman has. He was leaving those roadside boxes of supplies. He's not just undead. He's being kept as some kind of pet, of course, by the woman. And worse, he's being mocked for his past good deeds. For all the myriad inventive ways the walkers are killed week after week. Boy, poor Purvis was kind of disturbing. She's a piece of work for sure. Excuse me. But yeah, and there's always somebody out there like that, isn't there? Yeah, it's the end of the world, and sometimes the nice guys, they should finish first, not last. Otherwise, what are Morgan, Alicia, and the rest fighting for? Why even bother to save a world that's capable of such disrespect for the living and the dead? What we can say is rest in peace, Purvis. We didn't know you, but you were a good guy, right? So, what do you all think about this episode? Like I said, I wasn't thrilled. It wasn't the worst episode, no. I kind of, but, like I said, where are they coming from? They never said, where are they coming from? Why is Morgan back and forth and back and forth? It was just like a filler filled with him traveling back and forth. I don't know. Kind of. I think we could have done without some of it. Find John already. Find John, please. Because we need him back. Definitely. like I said, more questions than answers. But what do you think of this creepy woman and her poisoning water bottles and stuff? What is the point? I mean, she's going to kill everybody off? I don't get it, but okay. She's just evil, I guess. I guess hopefully we'll find out more about her. But that poor trucker, I don't know. I just wish, he'd find John Dory in that. He really would. I think next week's episode is going to be good. We're going to be, seeing that the evil one more. I don't know how these Sarah and Wendell are going to fit in. I hope we, get to the others and find them. I don't know. I hope it gets better. So far, I hate to say it, this season, I'm not totally impressed. There's nothing there that the only this season I liked was him and John. The first episode when him and John met, and they could go on many adventures. Wouldn't that be great? Madison dies, of course. Is Alicia going to be taken over? What do you guys think about that? I don't know. And of course, then we got June. I don't know where she's at half the time. Her head, anyway. I don't know. It's just, there's again, so many. I don't know. I like the bathroom scene. That was great. That was a great one. But we do find out she's Wendell's adopted sister. They're not twins. He's just being sarcastic, which I liked. I'm trying to see, think of what else. Boy, that has to be a thing of the, to enjoy a real bathroom, huh? And did you know Morgan didn't realize there was a hurricane going on? He thought it was just a storm. He thinks they're all dead over there, but he's going to go look anyway. And they tell him to keep on trucking. I don't know. He kind of hallucinates hearing Alicia and Strand. Because he hits a roadblock from the storm in this car, and he finds another box telling him what, take what he needs, leave what you don't. And then he hallucinates hearing Alicia and Strand, so he runs back, and that's when he radios Wendell and Sarah to lie and say the bridge is out. And then when they don't show up, he takes the car to head east. And that's when he runs into Jim, the microbrewer. He brews beer. I must have a nice setup. I don't know. But his kidnappers wanted his recipe. So they leave him out there without getting the recipe? I don't know. And of course, Morgan invites Jim to come with them, because he's going to do just that. That society will be rebuilt. They actually tied both of them up, Jim and Morgan, but they kind of accidentally hits him, so he goes off the end there. So, what happens in that episode is that Jim tells one instead of then getting his recipe, well, give them all the beer they want if they untie him. Okay, so they untie him. And then she kind of asks Morgan, what would you do to get untied? And then a group of walkers shows up, of course. They quickly pack up. Jim trips while getting his brewing supplies, of course. And it causes Morgan to fall down the hill into the walkers. And, of course, he jumps on a vehicle down there. And his new friends watch him. Isn't that nice? And she, of course, on the walkies, give me your location, I'll save you. They won't budge. He'll tell them the rest once they save him. He gives them half the directions. They won't budge, so he gives them the rest. They can't actually save him, but so they just head on their way. I don't know. Yeah, how are you liking these new characters? Tell me. What do you think? I think the evil woman's, the filthy woman's going to be a definite character in this one. I like it. Finally, something going on besides people, finding out what happened to him in the storm. That's fine and dandy, but we didn't need a whole hour of it. I don't know, the back and forth, and I think we could have been able to, he could have found John out there, so I don't know. I'm trying to think what other highlights there were. That's just about it. That's pretty much the show, the new characters. What do you think of them? What did you think of this episode in general? Like I said, it was good, but a lot of it, I think, was, we didn't have to see it back and forth and da-da-da-da-da. He put on some miles going back and forth, that's for sure. And for what? He doesn't even know if they're alive at this point. I don't know. I think we're going to find out more next week. Who's alive, who isn't. I'm pretty sure they all made it. I don't know if they can afford to kill anybody else off at this point. Well, not yet, anyway. I don't know if Jim will be around. I don't know. No, he can't just make beer. He's got to be making microbrew, the IPAs. Seriously? I don't know. That just kind of stuck in my head that, how ridiculous is that? I don't know. Is it ridiculous? To me, it is. It's like, really? You couldn't just be making beer. You have to be making IPAs. Okay. I think that, I don't know. That just kind of really stuck in my craw, so to speak. I'm just like, whatever. Really? IPAs? Because that's a fad now? Really? No. I don't know. But, if you're listening, put your comments on KBLP LLC or message me. You can message me through there. So, there you go. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this episode. It was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't really bad either. Like I said, I wish Morgan and John would get back together. Those two really had, they clicked. It was a good pairing there, and I wish they'd get back to it. And find everybody else. This is like dragging on. I had a feeling, Michelle and I talked about this, that this might happen. They were going to drag this on, and they are, and I don't want them to. I really don't. Get back to how it was at the beginning of this season. I think they kind of lost it along the way. They're dwelling too much on the storm. Yeah, we know it's a hurricane. Yes, there is major damage. There's things going. Yes, of course. But, let's find these other people. Let's find Alicia Strand, and John and June. And, move on, people, move on. We'll see next week, like I said, what is his name, Carlos Domingo, who plays Strand in here, who's a great character. I wish he's a great character. He's going to be directing he directed this episode next week. So we'll see how he did. We're going to critique you. So I have nothing else to say about this episode. Pretty well covered it. And kind of looked at sneak peek into next week. You know, they're using their walkies more. It's like, why weren't you using it before? I don't know. But like I said, all this traipsing back and forth across Texas there is kind of annoying. But, okay. You know, next week, if you don't get on here this week, let me know. Let me know what you thought of what you think of the new characters. And the evil one, I'm going to call her the evil one. Interesting character. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. So, I'm going to shout out to the Walking Dead Freak Show. Michelle is one of the admins of that group, so shout out to them. That's a great page, so check it out on Facebook. Shout out to KBLP LLC, of course. You can, it's on Facebook. You can, all the shows are listed there. You can also go to Spreaker. It's on iHeart, YouTube for episodes, and download them for your own listening pleasure. But you can find, if you're interested in the show, you can, go ahead and listen to it. We usually post them in KBLP LLC, so check it out there, okay? Shout out to True Horror Junkies, Art of Darkness, King Barker and Beyond, Horror Threeping Circus. Hi, Adriana. She's great. Survival Wolves, with Mike Ronan. Excellent site there. Excellent page. Conflicted with Julie Kenny. What would you do if? Scenarios. Very cool. Very cool. She's such an amazing person. Michelle we've had her on Planet B, O, B, several times, and I can't wait to have her back. She is absolutely wonderful. So, let's see, what else? Shows. We're going to have a new fall lineup, which we'll be posting because AHS is coming on. Yay, Apocalypse. I can't wait for that. Anybody watching The Purge, the new show, The Purge? Oh, yes. I was looking forward to that one. I think how the fall lineup's going to be. We're going to switch some things around. We're going to have American Horror Story on Sundays. I believe it's on Thursday, so we'll just have a discussion on that. The episodes on Sunday. Monday will be Sports Talk with Ike Diaz, Gary Martinez, Cecilia, Lisa, myself. There's other ones too. So, as soon as I get all the names in my head, then I'll let you know. But it's going to be great. Sports Talk. Don't forget, football season officially starts tomorrow. Let's go, guys. Go. Yay, football. So, Monday night it will be Sports Talk. Every other Monday is Planet B, O, B, Planet B-O-B. And shout out to Planet B-O-B. And make sure you put the periods in there, or God knows where you're going to end up. It's a great Facebook page by Michelle Aug. It's just great. Survival tips, prepping, anything you want to know, this is the place to go. One of the best places to go. So check that out. Let's see. Tuesdays, Desiree will be back with Unchained in October, so looking forward to that. Wednesdays, of course, is Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, and I'm very happy to say that Rick Moylan will be joining us as a co-host every other Wednesday on The Walking Dead. When Michelle's off on a Wednesday, she'll be on every other Wednesday with me. So we'll have a co-host. I hope to get them both on for the first episode. So looking forward to that. So Thursdays is going to be DWD, Decades with Denise. We're going to do that on Thursdays. Friday, Hollywood Review. Oh, who's going to see The Nun this weekend? Oh, me. I'm on vacation. I'm going to go see movies, yes. And then on Saturday, Michelle has a new show called Ecto. Oh, very cool. Check it out. And then Encounters will be on. It's going to be a paranormal day, basically. Strange things, paranormal things. That'll be Saturday. So Encounters will be moved to Saturday night. And then Sunday again, we're back with AHS. So, great week of, Fridays you can't miss, Freaks in the Basement, also with our own big freak, Chris Stevens. That is a freaking awesome show. Check it out. It's usually 1:30 Eastern Standard Time it starts, okay? So check it out. And Saturday night, of course, after Ecto and Encounters, our own Ike Diaz, Ike Dog, will be on with the Jam, and that's a party all night long, guys. From A to Z, he plays the music, and I love him. He plays Pat Benatar, and I love Pat Benatar. Thank you, Ike. So Lolita's Jam is on Thursdays also. You want to check her out. That'll be on after DWD. So Lolita's Jam. So with great full weeks of great shows. Don't miss a one. And you can download it and listen to it later. So that's one of the great things about this. You can listen to it later. Check it out on YouTube 4, iHeartRadio, Spotify. So check these episodes out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. We have excellent podcasters, just wonderful. So, and the shows are just awesome. So check them out. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. So give your ears some rest. And what is tomorrow? Thursday? Yeah, we shall see. I'll be on vacation. I don't know what I'll be doing, so I'll probably end up doing my shows. Why not? But check these shows out. So I'm going to end it now. A few more songs from Fear the Walking Dead. So enjoy. Thank you for listening tonight. Let me know. Please check in on KBLP LLC or message me or, get in the chat and tell me what you think of this season so far. Okay? All right. We'll see you next week on Fear the Walking Dead. Peace out, y'all.
Daniel. No.
Told to comfort me. An empty street, a rising steam. Break the truth inside of me. Coming down to hell on the devil's tree. I clutched the branch of soot and flame and thought they rose to scorch my feet. I walk alone beside myself, nowhere to go.
This is the life.
Is in my head.
You ain't gonna find a way out. Not north, not south, not anywhere else.
You can get out. There's nowhere.
Can't stay here. But nowhere to go. I'm sorry.
Flesh and bone, this part of me, this seeds of soul.
Can't run.
We need to fight. Last stand it is.
Oh my god. I saw something today, something that horrified me. At first, I thought it was unnatural. I thought it was an aberration. But I was wrong. What I saw was prophesized. What I saw was godly. And I think it's overdue.
When I went down, everyone was dead. 'Cause there was blood. Yeah, and it's all over her mouth.
What did she do?
She was eating them.
What the hell is happening?
They don't know if it's a virus or a microbe. They don't know, but it's spreading.
It's not real. I mean, it can't be real.
Is that a bite? Is that how it happens?
I don't know. I mean, Calvin was shot. It wasn't like this.
It's just like no one is paying attention. It's like it's not real.
It is. It's real.
We don't die, Liza. They come back.
This doesn't end.
It doesn't matter how you die. We all come back.
I'm about to step into a world of shit.
The only way to survive a mad world is to embrace the madness.
Run.
Good night, I love you, darling. Good night, good night, good night. May the stars shine bright. Good night, my darling. Good night, good night, good night. I'll push down the pillow with all of my might. Good night, good night. The stars are so bright, and I'll hold down the pillow with all of my might. Tomorrow, tomorrow will be alright. together.